Okay, so we're going to start our coil pot. I've got a slab that I rolled at the back on the slab roller, and then I'm going to just use a circle to cut this out to get started. I don't want to press this in. If I press this in, it's probably going to suction into this because this is not a cookie cutter. This is just a lid. Okay, and so there's no cutout to release the air, so you just want to put it on top and try your best to keep this straight up and down when you cut. So the wall on the side of this is like up and down, okay, and it doesn't angle in. We're going to go ahead and create coils. There's clay up at the front that you can grab. You don't want to try and turn this whole like big piece into a coil. This would probably be a coil that would reach across your table. And so you want something that's smaller. And again, we would squish this in our hands to get this round, roll it to kind of get it started, and then put it on the table to roll. Okay, now the first coil for this is going to be a little bit bigger. Make sure you are rolling. You give yourself enough space that you roll from your fingertip to the heel of your hand. Okay, so I'm going to do that. And I'm just using one hand, and I am just moving back and forth. And you can see, I mean, that made a really big coil and something that I'm not going to really need all of. I'm just going to use a section of it. So now we're going to, I'm going to stop, I think, at this point because this coil is a little bit different. This is bigger than a pencil. Okay, and this is going to be the first one that goes on top of here. If you look at this coil pot, you can see the base. This is a little bit taller than what each of these coils are. These coils are close to like the size of a pencil, right? If you look at the different sizes. This one is going to get blended on the outside and the inside, where all the other ones on here will just get blended on the inside. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put this on top. I like to, when I do this, let's go ahead and get a little closer, overlap and then cut through both of them, because then I have something that matches up, okay, and I have like a flat edge on each side. Okay, that's just me, but this is going to get scored and slipped on the top. Make sure you put enough texture on there that it's like Velcro and it's going to adhere. We're going to do one layer at a time for the coil pots, and this way you're going to be able to make things very even and symmetrical. Okay, so you have this joint. This is going to need to be scored and slipped as well. And then the back of the coil. Let's scoop that out of the way. Okay, so then this one's going to go right on the top. And the inside and the outside is going to get blended. Okay, so I'm going to put the joint together. I'm going to flip and put this on the top. And I want to push and kind of wiggle, make sure that it has adhered to this. This is really like the base of this, where everything is going to get attached. And so you want to make sure that it's strong. Okay, so you can see where you see the slab and you see the coil. You're going to go ahead and blend. And so that is to make this disappear on the outside and on the inside. This is really hard to go across and make that go away. You can still see the slab and you can still see the coil. And so I think it's just because you get caught on this, and so it kind of makes you like bump over it. What's really going to make this go away is blending at an angle. Okay, so you think of like an X, where you would go from one angle to the other or from the opposite side to the other. So really, blending at an angle is what is going to get rid of that on the outside. And sometimes you have to go from the top to the bottom. Sometimes it's the bottom to the top. And for me, since I'm right-handed, it's this angle, but I could like flip it over, you know what I mean, and try and go the other way. Okay. So I have the outside blended. I'm going to do the same thing on the inside. That didn't really, I mean, blending, it's not going to take a lot of clay off. I have a little bit that's left, but not much. And then we are going to just kind of blend, drag this down. You can see my thumb is on the outside, so it's not going to let it get pushed and like push it off the base. Okay, so this is a little bit rough. You can see all those marks on it, but you can take a sponge, clean that up really fast. Same thing, clean this up really fast on the outside. Okay, so a little bit of a bigger coil and blend the inside and the outside. I have a little bump right there I want to get rid of, or at least make it less noticeable. Okay, so now I'm ready for the next coil that's going to go on here, and I have some extra from what I had rolled. I'm going to make this coil the size of a pencil, and that means like the thickness of a pencil. And so you have at least a lot of experience writing, so you have an idea of how big or how thick a pencil is. Lots of times people want to make these too big. So just make sure you roll them enough, and you can see, I'll show you how big they actually do get. Okay, so this will work. This is about the size or the thickness of a pencil, and so this is going to go on top, and it's just straight on top of it. It shouldn't be any out or in, just right on top. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut through both of these, making sure I'm not cutting through the previous coil, and then that's going to get scored and slipped on here. Okay, I'm going to, you can see my joint was right here. I'm going to make sure that this joint is somewhere else, okay, like rotate it. Some people think they're being like really nice and neat, and they line up all their joints, and so they end up making a weak spot, okay, like all the way up the side of their pot. So it's better to alternate that, but I'm going to go ahead and score and slip and get this one on. Okay, so lots of texture there. Put some texture on the joint and put some texture right on top. Okay, and then I'm just going to put some slip on and attach those. Okay, and then from here on out, you're not blending the outside. Okay, the design on this pot is the coil, and so if you get rid of the coil, then you have no design. Okay, so this is going to go right on top. Make sure your joint is in a different place, which I think I need to rotate. Kind of push and wiggle and make sure that those are stuck. And then the inside of this needs to be blended. Okay, and it's pretty easy for the outside to just take your paintbrush and smooth that out. Like, that makes that look really nice really quick. And then you just have to support the outside of this with your hand and blend this coil down. So you're just dragging from the side of it. Let's see if I can get any closer where you can see, and getting rid of the edge that you see in there. Okay. So this is like the base of it. This is the starting point where you have one coil on top that's a little bit bigger, one that's just normal size, like a pencil on top of that. Okay, and then from here on out, we are going to make this bigger. And so what we have to do is we have to make a coil that steps halfway off. And this is easy to figure out if you've done that by just making a mark straight down from where that coil is and then moving it over and looking to see that, yes, I'm halfway off. Okay, and so you're taking those steps halfway off, halfway off, halfway off each time. And so let me show you what this looks like. You would be scoring and slipping every layer, and then you would be blending as well. And I like to work just one layer at a time. So each, you would need a coil for each of those. Okay, so let me get... Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and look at this, and the first couple of them you might want to check like that, like make sure that you have them halfway off. After you've done some, then you get kind of a good like idea of where things should go, so it needs less like checking. Okay, so this would be, if you look, right, you are halfway. Let's see if I can, this light will help at all to see the inside. No, all I get is a shadow. So this is just going to be halfway off, and that would get scored and slipped. But I want to show you, once you do this again, okay, and you have this halfway off, you can see from the side, this is starting to get bigger. Okay, it's not going to instantly like go from a small circle to a large circle, but little by little, it's going to get bigger. Okay. As you add to it, you'll see that happen. Okay, and you'll see it from the side. Everybody sees this? Like how that's going to start getting bigger. So you're taking half a step off, you're blending. We're only doing these coils, or these horizontal coils right now. But we just have to make sure that we are taking half a step out. Sometimes I have kids who think, I think I can make this go faster. And so they will decide to put coils out like this. Do you see this? Can you see what they're doing? Right? They're taking a step all the way off the previous one. We're kind of making like stair steps as we're going up the side of this pot, but they think, oh, I want to go faster and I want this project to get really big. But then what happens is this is sticking straight out, and they put weight on this, and then the pot collapses. Okay, and so the height that they thought they had instantly goes away, and now they have a collapsed project. Okay, so this is where we're going to start.